it's been a crazy experience to say the least. Super grateful that we get the opportunity to coach and to play, watch the kids play, and to give them that opportunity. It's just something that kids need. Such a big part of their lives to be active and be around their friends. And from March when COVID and quarantine started up until June 1st, we really didn't see them at all. And we were able to start summer practices 3 days a week June 1st. So we've been doing that all summer, and it's been a blessing for me, even as a coach, just to get back around the guys. And this is what I've been called to do. And when you don't get to be a part of it, it takes something away from you. And so just the joy of being around these kids and the excitement of seeing them getting back to working out 3 days a week all summer, and then to now we're 8-9 days from playing a football game. It almost doesn't even seem realistic. Yeah. Normally in the summer we don't have any restrictions as far as wearing helmets, and we don't tackle or anything in the summer, but we can wear shoulder pads just for acclimation and things like that. But we weren't able to do that until August 10th, and we didn't do that until September. So the restrictions on the field and having to keep everybody as distant as possible, no body-to-body contact, no helmets, was very frustrating because it was very opposite of what we're used to doing as football coaches and how we practice. So major adjustments needed, and just hats off to my staff and our athletic trainer and for overcoming all the hurdles and everything that we had to do. And then even in the weight room, like we were limited to 8 to 9 kids in a group. So the way we did everything this summer was just so abnormal, and I'm sure it's been that way for everybody across the whole country. But just being able to get back out here now and to be able to practice, and we're still trying to keep our distance here and there, and but it's been very difficult. But as football coaches, and I told my staff this in early summer when we had a staff meeting, we teach to our kids all the time about overcoming adversity. We better be the headline photo, description, and example of how to overcome adversity with all the things we got to deal with, protocols and all that. So the schedule that we had pre-COVID was a pretty difficult one in itself. We were going to go to Raleigh and play Ravenscroft. We were going to play Cuthbertson, Charlotte Latin, Providence Day, and High Point Christian again, who was in our conference. So we had some pretty difficult games. But now that the state's revised everybody's schedules to fit the COVID stuff, being able to play High Point first, you better have your ducks in a row, because they are always big, they're always talented, and it's kind of become, I don't know if it's a rivalry, but it's the last 2 years we've played for the right to go to the state championship, and we've been able to come out on top in both of those. But they've been good games, and I completely expect Coach to have his group together up there and ready to go, and I'm sure they're ready to get after us. So looking to that, and then looking at the rest of our schedule, just excited to get back to playing football, but to play a couple close teams from here. We've got to play Raven Gap in Georgia a couple times. They come here second week, we go there, and then we have to we host Christ School, who's very good, got a lot of Division I players. So still a challenging schedule, and especially like you mentioned, being able to start off playing High Point. So we really pushed our guys to focus in a little more mentally. Not that we haven't done that in the past, but knowing that you're starting game one with big-time ball is kind of a push mentally for them and for us to push them in that direction. So offensively, we return all 5 starters up front, which I think will help us. We lose every skill starter we had, except for Caleb Titherington. So we lost a really good group of talented kids who were big components in those last 2 state championship runs that we made. So for us, it's just next guy up, And a lot of these kids have been in the program and have been backups to those guys, so they've gotten the reps and they know the system. So it's just a matter of, can we get out there, can we execute, can we be physical, protect the ball. But we're really looking forward to our offensive line kind of leading the way for our offense. But we'll have guys all over. Brian Kearns is a receiver who has been a backup the past couple years, who's 6'3", 190, good speed, great judging the ball in the air, and I think he's ready to have a big year, as long as he stays healthy. Tommy Miller is a guy who's going to play both ways for us, starts on safety, and but really good speed, and just he's a guy that needs to touch the football. As I mentioned, Caleb earlier, who started in the slot for us last year as a sophomore, he's back, and just he's had a great offseason to work on his game, get stronger. I expect a good year from him. At the other receiver positions, we've got a couple guys. Connor Moreno, who's a senior, who's been a part of the program. Aubrey Dilling, who's been a part of the program. And then at tight end, we got a couple guys who, and Colton Fedge and Julian Mercer, who are kind of our inline tight end guys. And then we got some spread tight end guys in Gunnar Moen and Connor Spence, who are going to do a good job for us. And then quarterback Ryan Mcavoy, who's, again, he's been a backup. He's been a part of our program for the last 3 years. He knows what's expected. I think he knows the shoes that he's trying to fill from Miles to Angel to now himself, and he knows big things are expected. And Ryan's a very talented kid. He's got all the talent and ability to get the ball to his weapons and really make it hard for defenses to defend us. He's a very intelligent kid. He's probably the most mind-wise intelligent quarterback we've had since Rudd was here. And that's not against Angel or Miles, but he's very, very intelligent. So I think that'll help us some with our scheme. And then at running back, we've got Luke Gaskins, who played sparingly last year as a junior, first time playing football. He's really hit the weight room hard this offseason. Really expect him to have a good year. Joe Dilly, who's a transfer from South Lake, and then Sam Washam, who's a young kid as a sophomore, who's a good athlete, good feet. So that's really the offensive group. Defensively, we only return, I think, 4 or 5 starters from a group. So Tommy's the only starter returning in the secondary. So that's probably the area that we were hit the hardest. As a sophomore, he had 90 tackles. I think 4 interceptions. I mean, so he was a second-team All-State guy. He was a very good player as a sophomore. So he's kind of the leader of that secondary group without question. Then at the linebacker level, Colton Fedge, who was a second-team All-State performer last year, Julian Mercer, and Gunnar Moen, and Joe Dilly, he's about 6'1", 190. Came from South Lake. Those guys are going to lead our linebacking core. They can all run really well, physical guys. So even though we lost 2 guys as starters there, I don't really think we're going to get much of a drop-off from that group in production. And then up front, we lost 2 starters at defensive end, Indiana and Josh, who were really good athletes. But I think our defensive line will be one of our stronger groups this year up front with Ben Blanchard. We got a mixture of guys at defensive tackle with Christian McLemore, Alex Green, Braxton West, Nick Stafford, Colby Medlin. Andrew Threet's going to play some defensive end. Braxton West will play some defensive end. So we've got a good rotation of 6 or 7 guys that we feel like can really play. And the thing I've been most impressed with since we've started official practice is just their motor. And so we coach effort really hard, and we feel like if that group can stay healthy and we can play with great effort, we'll have a chance in the end to make things happen.
And you have a great asset, and going to be big for your defense helping out is Bryce Mcpherson, one of the best kickers in the country. So just talk about the talent that you have and the weapon you have in him.
Yeah, Bryce is he's the next level, man. I mean, I know everybody knows he's the #1 punter in the country by Chris Saylor and Cole's Kicking. If you get stamped by those two people, you're legit. And obviously, he's committed to Wake. An early commit as a junior, and which is just phenomenal for him. High academic school, playing in the ACC. And he knew that's something he wanted to do, so he didn't wait around on anybody else. And so it's good for him to be able to get that opportunity. But as far as for us and what he brings, I told him as a joke in front of the team one day, he's the #1 punter in the country, but I hope he doesn't have to punt that much. He is really good, and his improvement from his freshman year until now is just, he was not bad as a freshman playing on Friday nights, but it's just he's on another level, and he has just got after it in the weight room all year. He is really strong and really athletic to be a guy who only kicks. I mean, he's the fastest guy on our team, and one of the strongest. And so he's gone out and earned everything that's come his way without a doubt. But he is definitely a weapon, punting, kickoffs. I know he'll be able to hit a couple really deep field goals if we need him to. But he's a blessing, a wonderful young man too. Great guy, great teammate. I'm nervous because we weren't able to have any scrimmages or anything, so it's kind of going into game one, which is kind of why we scrimmaged a little bit today. And I'm looking forward to it very, very much. I'll probably shed a tear when it happens, just because, for however many months we didn't know that this was going to happen, and there was probably a few of those months that we thought wasn't going to happen. So, to step back and just probably when we run on the field and to see those kids, and just to know that all of it probably wasn't expected, and that it's actually finally coming to fruition, is just probably, it will be overwhelming.